Everything is provided to you by the game, and for those 2 days on the weekend, every single person in the game would be able to experience what it is like to own an account that has everything. And that would also motivate people to perhaps try different vehicles out. It would perhaps motivate people to then also spend money on things that they might want to spend money on. And most importantly, it would take away from what we currently have, which is grinding. I don't want to go into dev server and grind for something. I want to just be able to have a look at it, create content of it, tell you what's wrong, what you have to fix. And with that, we recently received an actual feature in the game, which is the voting option for the maps, which, first and foremost, I am happy it's finally been introduced. Second, I am annoyed that it looks like this. And if you can't tell what's wrong, look at the map names. I mean, if you're going to have a layout that is this squished together, and I don't even know which map is which, and there's 2 Volokolamsks, and one says all missions in brackets, but I can't see those brackets because they're hidden behind. These are the types of things that, you know, attention to the detail, because the devil's in the details. And players like me, we get more pissed off by the details than those big, broken, battle rating decompressions. The most important thing about this voting principle that I take from is that this could be used for everything. When you have, let's say you're adding 10 new jets for top tier, and when you add them, you put them on the dev server, they're there for the weekend, and the people who are coming into the game, who are able to play these vehicles out, say that they have a requirement, you have to at least play a game before you can do this, but give the players the option to vote whether that battle rating is fair or not, so that players can have a flyout in their brand new F4 Phantom and in their brand new MiG-21, and they can battle rating is fair or not. And the people who are coming into the game, who are able to play these vehicles out, say that they have a requirement, you have to at least play a game before you can do this, but give the players the option to vote whether that battle rating is fair or not, so that players can have a flyout in their brand new F4 Phantom and in their brand new MiG-21, and they can be like, okay, so this is fine, but both of these battle ratings at 10.0 are broken because the 9.0 jets are still there. So, downvote, I want to see this battle rating go up. And through actions like these, through development of in-game, votable, or any kind of action that performs an argument, criticism, that doesn't require the person to go to the forums, that doesn't require a Warthog employee to be paid to sit there to scroll through thousands of bullshit comments, it saves you time, it saves you money, and it saves us a lot of effort and gives us a very, very good game to work with. I guess what the ultimate purpose of this video is to inform you that there's a trifecta in this game. Gaijin who's trying to sell a certain product, YouTubers whose job to make themselves a job is to promote that particular sales pitch, and the community whose, I guess, naive job is to buy into all of this crap. It's just a pain to me because this has been getting worse and worse from patch to patch because the game's quality is degrading. The hype quality has to go exponentially up due to the way the YouTube algorithm works, due to the way that advertisement revenue is, which is piss poor. And the community is obviously on this, you know, thin layer of ice where they're threading very carefully between what's hype and what's sort of, well, almost anarchy. And I read a lot of comments surrounding the hashtag 1.91, how, you know, it's wrong with me to just assume that Gaijin would fix the game when they have a roadmap where they've been working on a patch for 6 months. That hashtag wasn't supposed to fix anything. It was supposed to bring attention to Gaijin that there is in fact something wrong, that people do in fact have a common denominator, and that we want things to go in a direction that suits all of us. But of course that was overlooked, and it will be ignored again and again and again, and I don't quite understand what those people want of me. Do you want me to make a hashtag, fix the game in 3 years' time, by which time you would have already added so much new content that the original fixes that we're bringing you arguments for are no longer viable? And let's not talk about the hashtag mouse, because the petition itself had actually reached 7,040 signatures, and it was completely overlooked, ignored, and in fact, the mouse is now no longer in the game. And it hurts me. I have to say, out of all the broken battle ratings, out of all the broken flight models, out of all the missing camouflages or missing flags in the Chinese tech tree, the one that really hits me the hardest is the fact that the mouse, the king tiger, the cougar lilian, and the goddamn panther 2 just got nuked from the game for what I think is no good reason. That's it for this rant. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to polarize yourself in the comment section down below by either stating you are or are not a member of the dev server gang. And as always, if there is a vehicle you'd like to see reviewed, put it.
This video is sponsored by Brilliant. The first 200 to use the link in the description get 20% off the annual premium subscription. India is home to 1.3 billion people. In just 5 years, it'll pass China and become the most populous country on the planet. And it shows. The streets are chaotic, markets overcrowded, and its economy bursting with potential. While it's still decades behind on basic infrastructure like schools and sanitation, India's GDP is among the fastest growing in the world, which for companies means 1.3 billion potential customers, many of whom are using the internet for the first time ever. Where Amazon, Google, and Uber struggle to enter and compete with locals like Baidu and Alibaba in China, they've largely succeeded in India. With one big exception, Apple is almost nowhere to be found. The iPhone is an unstoppable money-making machine, more successful than Boeing's 737, Toyota's Corolla, and the entire Star Wars franchise. And yet here it only commands about 1% of the whole smartphone market. Just in the last year, its government threatened to ban the iPhone over a disagreement about privacy. Apple reportedly lost 3 key Indian executives, and it failed to get approval for an official retail store. It's safe to say things aren't going so well. So what makes India so different, and what does it mean for the future of Apple? This is the sales miracle known as the iPhone. Apple went from selling 1 million in 2007 to 11 in 2008, all the way to a record-breaking 231 million in 2015. Turns out people like bigger phones. The trend couldn't be more clear. But then, something changed. In the last 3 years, sales have been flat. And if we look at all smartphones, you can see Apple is no exception. What was 40 or 50 or even 60% growth has now become 0. Now, if flat means consistently selling 200 million premium devices year after year, well, that doesn't sound so bad. The iPhone isn't declining, it's just not growing. But Apple, of course, is a public company, and the stock market is based on the expectation of growth. It's not enough to make an unbelievable amount of money. It needs to make an unbelievable amount more than last year. Which brings us back to the basics. There are 3 ways Apple can sell an iPhone. Someone buying their first smartphone, someone switching from a competitor, or someone upgrading their current iPhone. The first 2 have been incredibly fruitful, and are still responsible for millions of sales. But there are only so many humans on Earth, and at least for now, Apple is not in the business of making more. Which brings us to the third category, the customers it already has. For the average person, 2-year upgrades are becoming 3 or 4 or whenever this phone dies upgrades. Premium smartphone companies are in the business of making better, longer-lasting devices that will entice more people to upgrade. But that also makes them less eager to upgrade in the future. It's a tough game to play. We've reached a point where most people are mostly happy with what they have. In some ways, Apple is too successful for its own good. Today, it may sell the same number of phones, but more profit is being made, thanks to the higher prices of the 10 and 10s. Plus, existing users are valuable in more ways than one. We buy Apple Music, iCloud storage, Apple Watch, AirPods, and soon Apple streaming video. So this graph, the company argues, can only say so much. That's why it